The MG4 XPower is the cheapest way to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in less than 4 seconds with a full factory new car warranty. Now MG is looking to boost the appeal of its fastest electric hatch with this, a new accessory pack comprised of a few aftermarket parts sold through its dealers. It's still only in the discussion stages for now, but while it debates the idea and to gauge customer interest, it's fitted this proposed pack to one of its media demonstrator XPowers and thrown us the keys to see what it's like. Should MG sell this in showrooms? This video is going to take you through everything that's new on the outside with this accessory pack, take you through the interior to show you what's shared with a regular XPower, and of course hit the road to find out if this pack makes a difference to the way this electric hot hatch drives. Let's get started. MG is proposing 3 main upgrades as part of this tuning program accessory pack. First, lowered H&R springs that drop the car by 30mm, these new 18 by 8.5 inch flow-form wheels from Koenig, as well as this body kit you see around the car. New front splitter, new side skirts, as well as some elements on the rear diffuser. Now, the idea here is that you can always buy these parts separately from each manufacturer, but the thinking is they could be offered through MG dealers with a genuine factory warranty. Only 12 months, not 10 years like the full car gets, but still some form of manufacturer warranty coverage. That's of course if this pack gets over the line. Now, what do you think of the look? I'm actually a fan. Some of the things aren't the best, like those little sporty badges on the front splitter as well as the side skirts. Look a little bit tacky in my opinion, but otherwise it gives this car the sportier edge that the regular XPower just lacks. Even though it has the orange brake calipers, we'll get to those in a moment, it still looks better than the regular XPower in my opinion. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and of course, hit like if you agree, because after all, I'm sure MG will be watching this video. They are looking for your feedback on whether they should sell this pack in showrooms. So yeah, let us know down below. There's no word on the price yet, but MG estimates the body kit, wheels and springs would amount to about $4,400 before the cost of dealer fitment. That's on top of the regular XPower, which at the time of publishing is available for $55,990 before on-road costs and any discounts currently available. That's a sharp price given the performance on offer. Dual electric motors, 320 kilowatts, 600 newton meters, and a 0 to 100 km/h acceleration time of 3.8 seconds. Standard features shared with the regular XPower include LED headlights, a 10.25-inch touchscreen with wide Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 7-inch digital instrument display, synthetic leather look and genuine Alcantara seat upholstery, a power-adjustable driver's seat, wireless phone charging, and single-zone climate control. There are no direct rivals to the MG4 XPower with its price and pace, but a BYD Seal Performance offers similar acceleration in a sedan body, while you could also consider a Coupe Reborn. There are thousands of new and used vehicles available for sale on Drive Marketplace from hand-picked dealers around the country. Check it out at the link on your screen. Now, for all the things that are new as part of this accessory pack, there is still quite a bit of carryover from the standard MG4 XPower. Now, while the wheels and the springs are new, the rest of the suspension system is the same, so the dampers and the anti-roll bars, as are these tyres. They're Bridgestone Turanza tyres, 235/45 R18 profile, if you're wondering. They're not from Bridgestone's high-performance Potenza series, and they are what you get on a cheaper MG4 with rear-wheel drive and less than half the power of an XPower. Also want to call out the brakes. Now, they are bigger than what you get on a normal MG4, 345mm front and rear ventilated discs. However, as you might have seen if you saw some of the original launch coverage on this car, the XPower when it came out about 12 months ago in Australia, these big orange calipers are not actually the real calipers, they're caliper covers. The real calipers behind them and are smaller and unpainted, but these designed to make them look a little bit bigger and give them a bit of a sportier flair. Will it make a difference on the road? Let's find out a little bit later. None of MG's proposed upgrades actually affect the interior, so this is the same as a standard MG4 XPower. That's a positive and a negative. Starting with these seats, these real Alcantara centers are exclusive to this XPower model, and they do give it more of a premium vibe than cheaper MG4s. You've also got synthetic leather look material on the bolsters, as well as some orange stitching both on the seats as well as some other places in the cabin to help break up what is otherwise a sea of black. Now, they're pretty comfortable in daily driving. You've got 6-way power adjustment on the driver's side, manual on the passenger, as well as heated front seats in this spec. But when you're driving this car hard, like a performance car, you do find yourself falling out of them and actually holding onto the steering wheel. They're not fantastic, and a good set of sports seats would go a long way to fixing that. This steering wheel, shared with a regular MG4, it's a little bit big for a small car, but otherwise it's not too bad. You've got 2 spokes. It's a bit of a funky, futuristic design. The buttons do need a bit of a learning time to get your head around them. The markings aren't particularly clear, but once you do, they are easy enough to use. Tilt and reach adjustment as well to find a comfortable driving position. There's otherwise a pretty functional space in here for everything that word means. You've got pretty decent storage, some open center console space between the 2 front occupants, 2 cup holders, a small center console bin, as well as a glove box up here as well. The design of this dashboard is dominated by this touchscreen, 10.25 inches, and as we've said in some past MG4 reviews, it's a little bit basic, both in its graphics as well as some of its functionality. It's a simple layout, but it's not the fastest to respond, and this car particularly we've found it needs a few firm presses sometimes to actually get menus to open. This car specifically is the problem. We've had other MG4s that haven't been quite as sluggish in terms of infotainment screen response, but you do get used to it after a little while. Now it's got wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, FM radio, DAB digital radio, as well as satellite navigation embedded into the system. You'll notice there are no physical controls for climate control under the screen. There are a couple of little shortcut buttons for demists and things, but no way of easily controlling fan speed and temperature. So it means for the most part, you have to go through this menu in the touchscreen, which is not fantastic. However, there is a workaround. So if I go home there are two buttons on the steering wheel that have little star-shaped icons on them. You can map them to different things in the car. So I've got the left one set up to do the climate control. So I press the button, a little thing pops up on the touchscreen, and I can use this right joystick style controller on the steering wheel to move it up and down for temperature, and left and right to control how much fan speed I want. It's a great little feature and a good little workaround for not having any touch sensitive or physical climate controls under this main screen. It means you only really have to use this touchscreen for your maps and your media and whatever you have on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Really good mark there and a great workaround for a design feature. Now you've got two USB ports, so only the USB-A can actually be used for wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's no wireless connection for that, by the way. Got a 12-volt socket, as well as the heated front seats I mentioned, wireless phone charger, single zone climate control, and keyless entry and start. Now on that, there's no start button in the MG4, so you just get in the car, close the door, put your foot on the brake, and then turn this little rotary gear shift controller to put the car into drive. Now that order is very important, because if you do it wrong, say, get in the car, foot on the brake before you close the door, the car can get confused, and you've got to give the brake pedal a couple of firm presses before the car figures out what's going on and kicks into life and gets back with the program. Not fantastic, something we've complained about in past MG4 reviews and something the company should fix for future models. Now ahead of me here is a 7-inch digital instrument display. Look, it's pretty basic and there's not a whole lot of customization you can do from showing different views and things, but it does show all the information you need, whether it's trip computer, speed, battery, things like that. It does the job pretty well. It's clear and easy to read on the move. Now, apart from the screen, the design of this car inside is relatively basic, and that does extend to the materials. You've got some soft leather-like materials on the dash, as well as the armrests, which is where your elbows sit while driving. There's a lot of hard plastic on the lower dashboard, this center console area where the gear shifter is, as well as the top of the door cards. There's some nice suede material on these door panels as well, but it could be better for a 65 grand car. This is excusable in a $40,000 base model MG4, but at this price it does get a little bit harder to look past. What do you think? Are we being nitpicky? Let us know in the comments below. Now, in terms of quality, seems okay. This car has 6,000 Ks on the clock, but there are a couple of little issues, specifically this test vehicle at least. You've got some little creaks on the steering wheel controls, as well as a button for the glove box. It seems to be sort of halfway stuck. Again, nothing that's crazy at the end of the world and that stops you from using this car as it's meant to, but not a fantastic sign for 6,000 Ks on the clock. But I will mention we have had other MG4s for the Drive Garage, including a long-term test car that we put 3,000 Ks on, and we didn't have any of these issues from a quality point of view. So your mileage may vary if you buy one of these. All right, let's head to the back. Space in the back here is pretty decent for a small car. I'm 186 centimeters tall, or 6'1" if you prefer. This driver's seat is set up for where I sit. As you can see, space is okay. I've got enough knee room here behind the front seats to feel comfortable. Decent headroom as well under this roof, though toe room is a little bit tight with this driver's seat set quite low, though of course you can fix that by lifting it up just a touch. Now I've got a USB-A port for charging up devices, got map pockets behind each front seat, all these little dual smartphone holders, I guess. I'm not sure if I fit many modern smartphones, given how big phones are these days, but hey, you can definitely fit something in those. Door pockets as well, and some little space under the center console here, and of course that lovely Alcantara and synthetic leather look material on the seats we talked about in the front seats. Now, some things that aren't here. There's no rear air vents, no fold-down center armrests. There's also no lights on the roof, which means combined with this black headlining, it does get quite dark here, particularly on a longer drive and at night. Not fantastic, definitely some room for improvement for future versions of this car, but overall, it's roomy enough, and that's kind of what matters, I guess. Let's head to the back. It's worth noting before we proceed that this test car is fitted with a prototype of a power tailgate MG is considering as an accessory for the MG4. All variants up until now have had a manual tailgate. Alright, back to the video. In the boot, MG claims 363 litres of space in the back of this XPower, which is enough for full-size suitcase as well as some smaller bags around the place for a weekend away for a couple of people. It's pretty good. It's a pretty easy space to work with. There's no nooks and crannies or little humps in the floor you've got to get around. Now, as you can see, there's one problem. This cable bag, which has your home charging cables, if you don't have a wall box at home, doesn't really have anywhere dedicated to sit. So it sort of has to just fight for space in the boot with your luggage, which is a little bit annoying. Now you can raise this boot floor a bit, so just put that cable down. It's a bit of a process. You have to sort of fold out these bits on the side, but it's not too difficult. Put that in, and there is some underfloor storage you can create, but if I try and put that cable bag in, yeah, that doesn't really work. It would be nice to have space under there, or at least a front storage area like you get in a Tesla to be able to put this cable bag. Now I've got some nets on the side for storing smaller items, LED light, as well as a bag hook on the right here. Now, you might have just noticed I whacked my head on this tailgate because it is quite low. I'm 186 centimeters tall, 6'1", as I mentioned before. And yeah, I could probably quite easily whack my head on that if I wasn't looking. Now, this tailgate is power operated in this XPower, but it is quite slow, as you can see. On the way down, it's not terrible, but you can probably deal with it. On the way back up, there's a couple of seconds between pressing the button and it starting to move. And we had people, even on this shoot and other times driving this car through the week, thinking it doesn't work because it needs a second. And you got to get used to that it takes a second for the boot to open. Could be better, could be much faster. There are other cars on the market that have much faster power tailgates. And look, it's not the end of the world. It's a small thing and get used to it over time. But yeah, overall, the boot is a good size, but there are a couple of things that could be improved, particularly this tailgate, which, yeah, could be better, as you can see. All right, let's head on the road. You couldn't tell from the spec sheet, it's the power that dominates the driving experience of this car. 320 kilowatts is a lot of grunt for such a small car. And put your foot down, there is proper shove. 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds is no slouch. That's well into sports car territory. There are some Porsche 911s that aren't even that quick. And to be honest, it's probably too fast for Australian roads, given the speed limits in our country. We don't have autobahns like Germany. We can properly explore the capabilities of this car. The main mechanical change to notice on the road are these new springs. As I said, they lower the car by 30 millimeters. And look, the ride is for the most part comfortable enough to live with. It's definitely firm and definitely firmer than a normal MG4. And it is just comfortable enough to live with how potholed Aussie city streets can be. But at times it can sort of crash over potholes and not always give the most refined reaction to bumps that some other performance cars that also have firm suspension can deliver. At higher speeds, it's composed enough, though at times it can get a little bit unsettled over some undulations. Not too bad, not the end of the world by any stretch, and it does give you a little bit of compliance on high speeds over undulating roads. But yeah, overall, comfortable enough, but could be better. Around town, it's easy enough to drive. The steering is light in its normal mode, you've got a 360-degree parking camera, it doesn't feel too big, and there's a range of regenerative braking modes, including a full one-pedal setting. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest car reviews. Hit that notification bell as well to get a ping every time we post new content. Alright, back to the MG4. But when you get this car on a winding road, there is some room for improvement. The front axle can often struggle to put down all that grunt. The tyres, they're Bridgestone Turanzas, and they are pretty decent. They're not performance car tyres, but they are pretty good for just driving around town. They can struggle to put down all that grunt. There's a lot of torque steer, some traction control intervention, and isn't the most resolved in that regard. The steering, while it is pretty direct, it would like a little bit more communication, telling the driver what's happening on the road surface below. It does get heavy, but it doesn't tell the driver much in the way of feel or feedback. These brakes, the pedal is quite firm when the discs are cold, but the stopping distance, 100 to 0 of 36.8 meters, is okay for a hot hatch, but not exceptional. Cars with performance tyres can pull up in a much shorter distance. There's a bit more body roll than we might like for a hot hatch on sporty suspension, and you can't really hide its 1.8 ton weight either. It doesn't feel quite as nimble as a petrol hot hatch would. But then again, I guess you can't fight physics all the time, no matter how much chassis trickery you throw at a car like this. Overall, the XPower is a pretty good car to drive. Not quite as fun as a petrol hot hatch, and in some ways the regular rear drive MG4 is actually more enjoyable. It has a more playful chassis balance that this car doesn't have. But overall, if you just learn to enjoy the way this car drives, which is rocketing out of corners, braking for them, turning in and rocketing out of them again, then it is actually a really enjoyable car. And it does live up to the branding of a hot hatch. What do we reckon of this proposed accessory pack for the MG4 XPower? Well, I think it adds just the right amount of visual appeal to what is otherwise a pretty understated hot hatch, and it's an interesting option for buyers at the new car sales desk. It didn't need to change the sheer power of the car, the space inside, or the awesome value for money equation, and luckily it doesn't. But I wish it went a little bit further. Bigger brakes, better tyres, sportier seats would go a long way to polishing some of the rough edges of what is otherwise a performance bargain. What do you think? Should MG add this pack to showrooms? Let us know in the comments below because the company is looking for your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, and of course stay up to date with our latest videos, hit that subscribe button. To read the full review, the link in the description to head to Drive.com.au. To watch a video of another insanely quick electric car, click up there to watch our review of the new Tesla Model 3 Performance.